Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's yoga class is a midweek pick-me-up for weary, achy bodies. Think of this as just an opportunity to revitalize, to re-energize your body. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify if you need to, ease your way into child pose and take a time out if you need it. You ready to play? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class coming to a seated frame towards the top end of the mat. Make your way down, bend your knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat, and sit up nice and tall, bracing your hands on your shins and lengthen through the spine for me. Start visualizing a broomstick running from your tailbone towards the crown of your head and just lengthen as much as you can through the spine, softly pulling your belly button in to center. Take a big breath in to prepare, and then on an exhale, you're going to nod your chin to your chest and you're going to start rounding out the spine into a little C-curve shape. Think of this as a seated cat. You're almost hollowing out and scooping through your belly. Then gently draw back to your broomstick line and start coming through the broomstick line, almost arching slightly through the back into a cow-like shape, gently peeking towards the ceiling. You're going to begin oscillating dynamically between your seated cat and your seated cow. If you find that arching through the spine and looking up towards the ceiling is too much for your neck today, you can modify the movement and just play between that rounded C-curve shape and that straight broomstick shape. Experiment. Remember that principle of Vipassana that we played with on Monday, starting to tune in, making your practice more meditative, and really listening to the feedback that your body's giving you and then modifying your movements accordingly. Let's do 2 more little flows. The whole time that you're playing with your seated cat-cow, you're keeping the belly button softly pulled into center so that you keep your lower abs engaged. Ease your way into a neutral, long broomstick line, and then tip the weight off your tailbone. Try not to round out through the spine this time. Give me a long shape through the spine, tailbone to the nape of the neck, and you're going to float your legs up into a little table. Taking it into a modified boat line, legs bent nicely, and you're reaching with your fingertips and your toes for the wall in front of you, belly button fused in, long line through the spine. Try to almost bob the crown of your head towards the ceiling. Then softly reconnect your feet to the mat, drag your big toes along the mat, brace and kick into the heels, and sit up nice and tall into Dandasana. If you find that you're hanging off the tailbone, just use your hands to manually shift your bum cheeks out the way. Sit up nice and tall. Make sure both of your bum bones are firmly grounded into the mat. And give me an active foot, no soft toes. I want you to brace softly into your feet. Think of that broomstick line through your back. So you've got your shoulders nicely stacked over your hips. Belly button is firmly pulled in, so your lower abs are engaged. And you're going to lengthen through your fingertips and try to tap the wall in front of you with your hands. Give me a nice active staff pose, Dandasana. Keep reaching through your fingertips, keep reaching through your spine, keep reaching through your braced feet. From here, we're going to bring it into a tabletop line, and you can experiment with a hand line and see where you're going to get most benefit today. You can drop your hands to the mat, palms down, fingertips looking towards your toes. If your wrists are sensitive today, you can give me a fisted line with the wrists looking in towards the center line. Maybe experiment with both and just see how you feel today. Draw the hands back, lean the weight back. Think of that L-shaped lean. Bend your knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat. Feet and knees about hip-width distance apart. You're going to scoop your bum up towards the ceiling and come into a little table hold. Maybe shuffle around. And then try to come to stillness so that the weight bearing is equal between your arms and your legs. So you're not leaning into the arms, you're not leaning into the legs. You're trying to have that weight distribution as equal as you can comfortably manage. Chin is nodded softly towards your chest, or you can give me a throwback if you prefer. Obviously, it's difficult to talk in the throwback position, but just play where you're comfortable. Try to hold that frame steady. Your quads are engaged, your hamstrings are engaged, and your glutes are engaged. You've either got a fisted hand or a flat hand on the mat with your fingertips looking towards your toes. Soften through the glutes. Start softening the top chain of your legs. So think soft hamstrings, quads, glutes. Bring your bum back down to the mat. Find your original high seat, staff pose, stacking your shoulders over your hips, lengthening with your fingertips, bracing into your feet, nice and active through the feet. Belly button firmly pulled in, long spine. You're a marionette. Somebody's gently pulling that crown up towards the ceiling. Hold here, giving me an active seat. Staff pose is great for postural alignment. So if you do a lot of sitting during the day, this one is for you. From here, you're going to start softening your line and ease your way onto the elbows. So draw the hands back, start bending through the elbows. Fingertips are looking towards your toes. Find your position on the mat. And you could perhaps bring the feet in a little bit closer. You can clip them together along the midline of the body. As you find your frame on the mat, check that you're not collapsing and hanging between the two collarbones. So I want you to float your bosom up to the ceiling. Think of that L-shaped back that we played with when we dipped off the center line. You're going to nod your chin softly down, looking towards your ankle bones. You're going to give me 10 single leg lifts on the right, hovering your heel just off the floor as you lift and lower. Exhale as you bring the leg up, and then inhale to come down. Play with the range of motion that works for you, so you can keep your range small, or you can open up the legs a little bit wider if you prefer. Then change and repeat on the other side. Long spine, belly button pulled in. Last one. You're going to come back to side one, but soften your toes this time, almost as if you were reaching for the wall in front of you, and start tracing a big circular pattern in one direction. Once you've traced 5 big circles in one direction, you're going to change it up and move in the other. The whole time you're keeping that belly button softly pulled in. You're thinking of that L shape through your spine. Think of that broomstick. Bring it back to center and repeat gently on the other side. Make the circumference of your circle nice and round and trace the diameter that's working for you today. So either keeping it large or making it a little bit smaller. But don't rush through the movement. Make sure you give me at least 5 circles in each direction. Inhale for half of your circle circumference and then exhale gently for the other half. As you complete your last circle, we're going to come into a little fall back. You're going to think of hollowing out your spine into that cat-like shape, that C-curve shape. You're going to float your arms off the mat, hollowing out your belly, reaching through your fingertips and your toes, almost as if somebody had thrown a beach ball at your belly and you'd gone oof around the ball. Then soften down to the mat. Arms are long and lengthened at your side. You have a neutral spine position, little space between your lower back and the mat. Bend the knees and connect the soles of your feet to the mat. Start relaxing the weight of your spine into the mat. And then gently float your right leg up to the ceiling. And gently bend and extend through the leg, trying to release that little tension spot behind your knee and give me a nice brace into the foot, almost as if you were trying to walk flat-footed on the ceiling. Let's change it up. Float the left leg up, trying to give me as close to a 90 line as you can as you bend and extend through the foot. Connect the left foot to the floor and then try to double up, floating both legs up towards the ceiling together and bending and extending the legs in unison. Keeping your chin line soft and relaxed, try not to tense the jaw or the neckline, and then try to brace into the feet and hold. My legs are in a soft parallel line right now. You could bring them in closer and clip them together along the midline of the body if you prefer. Experiment, see where you're feeling the most benefit, the most stretch for your legs. Then open up the legs into a small V and bring them back. You're going to play with that Ving out motion, and every time you open up into the V shape, maybe trying to open the legs up a little bit wider. Then if you're up to it, you're going to hold the legs open as wide as you can, maybe reaching with your hands, palms looking in, scoop to peel up off your shoulders. Almost think of using the arms and the elbows to pull the legs open a little bit wider. Keep your feet active, so bracing into the heels. Belly button is fused to your spine, almost as if you were trying to tap the mat behind you with your belly button. Float your legs back together along the midline of the body. Start bending the knees. Soles of the feet look up towards the ceiling. We're coming into a happy baby. You're going to reach around, trying to grab the outer quadrant of your feet. Allow the knees to become heavy towards the chest, and then make your tailbone heavy into the mat. And gently rock your body weight side to side. As you bend those knees and start pushing down or bearing down on the feet, I want you to allow the knees to not stop when they reach your chest. Allow them to splay softly around your chest, almost as if they were gravitating towards the armpit. Open up as wide as you can. So you're getting a bit of compression into the lower belly area. And then hold your happy baby steady, Ananda Balasana. Focusing on nodding your chin softly towards your chest. Think of that long broomstick line through your spine. No tension in your neck or your jawline. Make your tailbone as heavy as you can to the mat. From here, we're going to play with a little spinal roll to come back into a seated roll, and we're going to mix it up today. You're going to think of crossing at the ankles, almost as if you were coming into easy sit, and you're going to hold on to the toes or the bridges of your feet. Nod your chin to your chest, rock up into a seated position, almost throwing the weight of your chin forward towards the floor, and then round out through the spine, thinking cat shape, and come back to your start position. Keep a nice rounded frame on the spine as you gently rock back and forth. If you find that rocking back and forth is not for you today, just gently stay on the back, maybe bracing your hands into your shins. Gently cradle rocking the body weight side to side, and then when you're ready to come up, push over onto one side and end in a seated frame. Everybody ends in a nice high seat. Think Sukhasana, easy sit. Let's all lead with the right leg in front. So tuck the left heel in close to your perineum, stack the right leg in front. Place both of your fingertips on the mat behind you. Don't take the stance too far away from your back. So bring the fingertips in relatively close towards your bum line and try to bring the two sets of fingertips close towards the midline of your body. So you're thinking of floating those shoulder blades together and expanding laterally through your chest. Then gently peek up to the ceiling, giving me an almost cow shape through the back. Think of what we did right in the beginning of the class. So you're taking it into essentially a gentle back bend. Come back to a long broomstick line and cross to the right. Left hand reaches for the right knee. Take a gentle twist, keeping the right fingertips on the floor behind you, and think of that long broomstick line through the spine that we played with right in the beginning of the class. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale to softly twist it to the other side. Grab opposite hand to knee. Resist with that hand as you come into the twist, and give me the longest spine that you can comfortably manage. Ease your way back to the center. At first, keeping both sets of fingertips on the floor behind you. You're gently going to fold forward. Don't force the forward fold. Just make your chest heavy to the floor. Make your chin heavy to the floor. Make your crown heavy to the floor. Maybe softly, just keeping the fingertips connected to the mat behind you. If you find that your sense of balance is not there, you could perhaps place your forearms on the mat, or maybe your fingertips, or you could perhaps reach for a prop, maybe a block, placing it on the floor in front of you and finding a comfortable stack position that works for you. Peel back up along the center line and change the cross of your legs, leading this time with the left leg in front as you come to easy sit, Sukhasana. Fingertips, nice little spider fingertips on the mat behind you, drawing those hands in as close towards the midline of the body as is comfortable for you. Start hollowing out through the spine, giving me a cow-like shape, gently peeking up to the ceiling and getting a fair amount of stretch into that little turkey waddle piece of skin just underneath the chin. Then come back to your long broomstick line and cross over to the left. Right hand to left knee. Use the hand to pull, soften through the elbow. Almost think of the elbow pulling away from you so that you feel a fair amount of work in the twist. Inhale, come back to the center line. Both sets of fingertips on the mat behind you. Exhale to twist to the right. Opposite hand to knee. Long broomstick line through the spine. Belly button fused into center. Place both sets of fingertips on the floor behind you and softly fold forward, trying to keep those fingertips softly connected as you just make your crown heavy, your nose heavy, your chest heavy to the floor. Belly button softly pulled into center. And if you like, you could maybe float the hands off the mat behind you, giving me a little fist. Think of this as a seated hare pose and just make your crown as heavy as you can to the floor. Don't force the stretch. Just take it as far as your body wants to play today. Ease up along the center line. You're going to drag your weight forward onto the knees, placing your forearms on the mat in front of you and stepping the legs out behind you into an elbow plank. You're going to hold the elbow plank steady, trying to stack your elbows underneath your shoulders. Try not to collapse and hang with your belly on the floor. So push off your forearms. You're giving me as parallel a line to the mat as you can comfortably manage. Your core is braced, almost as if somebody had punched you in the gut. So core is totally committed. And the legs as well. So the front and the back chain of the legs is engaged and you're pushing back softly into the heels. From here, you're going to soften through the knees. You're going to ease your way into a puppy frame. Start thinking of piking your bum bones up to the ceiling and almost stretching or elongating through the arms. Forearms are still softly connected to the mat, but as you drop down through the elbows and look off the front of the mat, you're going to feel an awesome stretch into the shoulders. Puppy, beautiful chest opening pose. Think of trying to make your chin and your chest look off the front of your mat. Then slide the hands gently back. We're coming into a down dog frame from here. Find your 4-point kneeling frame first. Tuck your toes under. Float your bum up to the ceiling. And if you're feeling really tight through the back chain of the legs, you can give me a soft pedaling or walking-like motion, bending one knee and extending the other leg, and just easing into your down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Then hold your frame steady. Hands should be more or less shoulder width apart with your feet about hip width distance apart. Take a nice little stretch into the front and the back chain of the body. Piking your bum up nice and high to the ceiling, making your crown heavy to the floor, almost feeding your head through the hands as if your nose was gravitating towards your kneecaps. Stay or play in a little curtsy dog. For the curtsy dog, soften your right knee and then cross your right leg in front of the left, crossing at the ankle with your right toes just softly connected to the floor, almost as if you were taking a modified curtsy. Stay here, pushing into both hands and the one foot that's grounding you into the mat. Then ease your way back to your down dog frame and try your little curtsy stretch on the other side, crossing the left ankle in front of the right, holding the frame steady as you take your stretch. Pause here for at least a few seconds, and maybe you can rock the body weight side to side. Start connecting through Vipassana to those little tension spots in your body, and then hold steady. Ease your way from here back into 4-point kneeling. Come up into a high kneeling frame, stacking your shoulders, your hips, and your knees together. Tuck your toes under, or you can keep them flat on the floor behind you. You're going to float the hands behind you, making a little fist, hollowing out through the spine as you come into a modified camel line, bumping your hips softly forward, not leaning back in a side stretch, but trying to keep your hips softly stacked over your knees. Think of that cow shape that we played with right in the beginning, almost coming into a gentle back bend and peeping up towards the ceiling. Then unbind and start softly bumping your bum bones back, trying to connect your forearms to the mat. You can either give me a long and lengthened line with your fingertips looking towards the front of the mat, or if you want to play, you can fist your hands and drop your fist to the hand. We're coming into dolphin or quarter dog. Tuck your toe under, float your bum up to the ceiling. Crown stays floating off the floor. You can perhaps creep your feet a little bit closer towards your nose line and then make the heels heavy to the floor. It's going to feel impossible to get the heels to want to come down, but try as best you can. You can either stay here pushing off the forearms, or if you want to move dynamically, you can rock the weight forward and backwards, almost trying to bring your nose over your fisted hand and then behind your fisted hand. Just play with it. Wherever you decide to play, you're keeping those bum bones nice and high. Your belly button is fused to your spine. And you're using those forearms. Maybe hold steady for a beat. Katur Svanasana. Your quarter dog. And soften the knees. Think of drawing into a soft tabletop line. Ease your way into child pose, big toes together, knees softly splayed out, arms long and lengthened in parallel in front of you, maybe softly nodding your forehead to the mat and just taking a little chill here. Arms are softly draped. Take a big breath in and push off your opened up hand. So you're pushing through the heel and the palm of your hand. Keep your left hand long and extended. We're going to thread the needle from child. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, thread your right arm underneath your left armpit, palm up towards the ceiling as you thread through, and then just stay here for a few seconds. To activate the stretch, keep pushing through the palm of your left hand and make that right arm that you've threaded through, make your shoulder heavy to the mat and keep lengthening through your fingertips. Come back to your original midline position in an extended child. Just gently reach through. Push off both palms, sink your bum bones back as far as you can. The belly button is beautifully pulled into center. Big inhale to prepare. When you're ready, thread the left arm underneath the right armpit, coming to rest on your left temple as you feed through. Keep pushing off the palm of your left hand. The arm that you've threaded through, make that shoulder blade heavy to the mat and keep reaching through your fingertips. Ease your way back to the center line. And then start dragging your body weight forward, coming back into your puppy line. Think of allowing your lower belly to come as close to the top of your thighs as you can. Bum bones are looking up to the ceiling. You're trying as hard as you can to connect your chin and your chest to the mat, and you're softly looking off the front of the mat to activate the stretch. Hold for a few more breaths, then we're going to drag the weight forward onto the belly and we're going to set up a swan line. Soften through the elbows, drag your weight forward, caterpillar style, onto the belly. As you connect to the belly, slide your hands down so that your palms are towards the lower end of your rib cage, behind or underneath your breast line. Keep the elbows tucked in towards the center line. We're going to come up slow and controlled into a swan, And then depending on how you feel, we might play with the movement dynamically. Nod your forehead to the mat. Pretend that you have a little marble underneath your nose. Keep your elbows tucked in. Legs are soft and relaxed and parallel. Start rolling that little marble away from you towards the top end of the mat and slowly, slowly start disengaging one rib at a time. Stop with your bottom 3 ribs heavy to the mat and drop the shoulders away from your ears, trying to extend as much as you can from your mid-back towards the nape of your neck. If you're feeling tender, stay here. Alternatively, you're going to start coming up slow and controlled through the arms. Start pushing off your palms and come to rest on your belly button, pausing there for a second or two. Push up higher, resting on your hip bones. Higher still, resting on your pubic bone. Higher still, resting on the tops of your thighs. All the way up, extending through the arms, resting on the kneecaps with the heels of your hands lining up underneath your armpit. Don't collapse your frame. So keep lengthening. Think swan. Give me the longest, most graceful spinal column that you can manage. Belly button is softly pulling, so you're getting a fair amount of stretch into the lower belly area. Come down to the mat with the same amount of control. Begin gently bending through the elbows. Connect the tops of your thighs. Then the 2 hip bones, or rather your pubic bone first, sorry. Then the 2 hip bones, your belly button, the bottom 3 ribs, pause. The rest of the rib cage follows to retuck that marble underneath your nose. If you want to shoot for a more gentle practice, you're going to keep gently peeling up and down through the swan line. To play dynamically, you're going to push up, coming straight up into the swan line, and then bend through the elbows. And as you reconnect to the mat, you're going to float the legs behind you, and you're going to think of gently seesawing up and down, pistoning up and down through the elbows, but keeping the elbows tucked in towards the center line as you rock on the belly. If this is too much for you, play with a slow ascent and a slow descent. Exhale as you come down if you're rocking. Inhale as you come up. Let's do 2 more. And we'll push back from here into an extended child. Big toes together, knees open nice and wide, taking an awesome little stretch here. Creep your hands back, pushing off the palms. Really make your bum bones nice and heavy and try to sink them back, trying to tap your bum bones to your heels. Make your child stretch active. From here, we're going to hop or step our way towards the top end of the mat and come into the standing forward fold. Maybe ease your way through 4-point kneeling, coming nice and high onto the fingertips. Tuck your toes under. Give me a relaxed dog with your knees tracking off the mat, bum looking up to the ceiling. Take a little hop forward so that your feet land just in front of your hand line. Feet in parallel. And then softly extend into a forward fold. If you can't keep your hands connected to the mat, maybe connecting to your shins or the top of your thighs, if you prefer. And then depending on how you're feeling, we're going to begin playing with this movement dynamically. Keeping your fingertips connected to the mat if you can. You could even use a block underneath the hands. You check that your feet are stacking in parallel underneath your hips. Bend your knees. You're going to come into a haunch-like position. Weight on the toes and the balls of your feet, gripping the mat with all 10 toes. Heels off the mat, and you're going to reach for the wall in front of you. You're going to move dynamically between this haunch hold and a soft little forward fold. If working low to the mat is not for you and the body's really stiff, you can modify the movement, playing between a modified forward fold and just a gentle seat, bumping the weight back into your bum and your heels and floating the hands out in front before coming back to your modified, maybe little tabletop line. Remember, you're here for yourself, so experiment with the movement and play where you're comfortable today. If you were in the low haunch hold with the forward fold, you can kick it up a notch by bringing your hands in, palms looking out, Grab for the inside of your ankles, float the elbows out to the side of the room, and almost think of pulling the two ankles apart as you make your crown heavy to the floor. Hang here for a few seconds. Experiment with the weight bearing on your feet, playing with a forward and a backward rock until you find maximum stretch. For me, it's with my feet balanced comfortably between the balls and the heels. And then come back into your haunch line, reaching with the fingertips and trying to tap the wall in front, pulling your belly button in towards your spine, and then oscillating dynamically between the two, maybe holding anywhere for between 5 and 10 seconds, pulling those ankles apart, making your crown heavy to the floor, experimenting with that weight placement in your feet so you can feel a fair amount of engagement along the inner thighs. The back chain of your legs is getting an awesome stretch. You're keeping that belly button nicely pulled into center. Ease your way back into your little haunch position or your chair-like hold. The next time you fold forward, maybe ease your way into gorilla pose by inverting the hands. Palms are looking up to the ceiling, and see if you can tuck your hands, palms up underneath your feet. Preferably legs long and lengthened, or you can soften through the knees if you need to. Activate the stretch by gently rocking your weight back and forth between the balls and the heels of your feet, and holding where you're feeling a fair amount of tightness before you throw the weight placement in the opposite direction. Keep your belly button firmly pulled into center. Remember that the head has been inverted for quite some time now, so when you come up with care and bring the head up last, allowing your blood pressure just a chance to stabilize when you come up. When you're ready to come out of Gorilla Parahastasana, feed the hands out, soften through the knees, and ragdoll style peel up. Remember, bring your head up last, giving me a soft little contraction through the belly as you peel up to restack, realign your body. Maybe heel toeing in. We're coming into a narrow mountain and we're going to play with balance and strengthening work from a standing position now. Standing up nice and tall, you're going to bend the right leg, foot is looking to the wall behind you. You're going to reach with the right hand for the right foot. And once you've found a comfortable hold position, maybe softly squeezing the two knees together, you're going to reach the left hand back as well and see if you can hold onto the toes or maybe the bridge of the foot. Softening through the quad, the hamstring and the glute on that right leg so that you can tuck the heel in all the way towards your bum line. Stay or play. To play, you're going to think of coming into a dancer-like line, Notarayasana. You're going to start kicking the foot away from your bum into your hand. You're going to hinge forward from the hip, and you're going to think of bringing the trunk of your body into the soft tabletop line, kicking that foot into your hand. Holding anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. And then gently come back to your standing frame. If you lose your balance, just drop your right toe to the mat. Think knee to nose on the right, maybe bracing around the shin and hugging the leg in towards your chest. From here, we'll find our way into the seated figure 4. Think of finding a figure 4-like placement for your right foot and ankle on the left thigh. Bending your forearms, stacking them. Let's do right arm on top of left. You're going to push down with your right arm, resist with your left arm as you bump the weight back into your bum and your heels and come to a comfortable little chair seat. Then unbind the legs, place your hands on the floor as you step back with the right leg. You may need to readjust the position on the front leg, bringing the leg slightly forward and lining up the knee and the ankle. Relax the back knee, relax the back foot. Peel up along the center line, keeping that alignment on the lead leg in mind. You're going to stack one hand on top of the other, placing them behind the knee joint. Don't collapse into it. So I want you to push the leg away, lengthen through your spine. Give me the longest swan-like spine that you can manage. And then tuck your back toe under, drop your fingertips to the mat, start almost sliding the weight back, stopping when your hips and your knees stack on the back leg. Drop your fingertips to the mat, extend the front leg, toes looking up to the ceiling. If your fingertips don't reach the mat, you can perhaps give me a higher frame, balancing on your heel, maybe gently holding on or just bracing softly against the thigh, or maybe fingertips on the shin. Come back into your lunge line. This time, as you peel up, see if you can float both hands behind your back, giving me a fisted line and keeping the back toes tucked under this time. Then focus on your pelvis. Begin with a neutral spine, allowing for that natural S-curve in your spine, and then think of tilting or tucking your tailbone in towards the 12 o'clock position. Aha! And activate the stretch on the back leg. Keep the back toes tucked under. Start bumping the weight back into the hips. Keeping your balance if you can. Come back into your little hamstring stretch. Hands either stay interlaced behind you, or you can bring the fingertips to the mat or your leg for support as you come into the hamstring stretch. Then find your way back into your lunge line. This time, see if you can bring the back knee up off the floor, hands interlaced, almost as if you were knuckling the wall behind you, or you can stack and push that front leg away, lengthening as much as you can through the spine. Play with it. Relax the back knee and foot. Uninterlace the hands, place them on the floor. Come back to your original hamstring stretch, but keep walking the weight back if you can. Trying to wrap your two bum cheeks around the heel of the back foot and sit comfortably with your bum wrapped around the heel. If you find that you're leaning off center, maybe reach for a block. Use the block as a little seat underneath your left cheek to prop you up so that your pelvic girdle and your shoulder girdle is level on both sides. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, softly fold forward. Think head to knee, Janu Sirsasana, as you hold that stretch. Maybe using a belt, a strap, or a hand towel, or if you have an additional block, you could even place the block on the inside of your leg and just find a comfortable lean-in position. Holding for maybe 10 seconds here, trying to soften and relax through the sacrum area, making your chest nice and heavy to the lead leg. Then creep your way forward. We're coming into a gentle pyramid line. You're going to tuck the back toe under, bring the knee up off the floor, and then maybe slide the back leg in slightly and find as narrow or as wide a pyramid line as works for you. Keep your both sets of feet looking towards the front of the mat. Then peel up, stacking your hands gently on your shins and almost pushing off the shins and trying to lengthen your spine into a little tabletop line. Keep your belly button firmly pulled in to center. Softly step up. Find your way to the middle of the mat. Heel toe the feet in, maybe giving the legs a little shake out. We can repeat that sequence on the other side. Stand up nice and tall in your modified mountain, Tadasana. Bend the left leg. Sole of the foot is almost kicking the back wall away from you. Reach with the left hand for maybe the toes or the bridge of the left foot. Then try to bind or stack the right arm on top of it. Hug the heel in towards your bum by softening the quad, the hamstring, and the glute, but keep the two knees softly squeezing into the center line. Then begin thinking dancer. As you hinge forward from the hip, you're going to kick the foot into your hand, almost squeezing the two shoulder blades together and expanding more through the chest as you come into a dancer hybrid. Keep kicking the foot into the hand, thinking tabletop line. When you're ready to come up, maybe dropping the back foot to the floor first, just to find your balance. Then thinking knee to nose, Hugging the left foot in towards your chest, standing up nice and tall, broomstick through the back. We're going to come into a figure four seat from here. So you're going to reach for the left foot. And then find a comfortable resting spot for the left foot and ankle on your right thigh. Bumping the weight back into your bum and your heels. You're going to stack the left arm on top of the right. You're going to push down through the left arm and resist with the right arm. Keep pulling your belly button in and keep bumping the weight back into your bum and your heel. Then lunge back with the left leg, maybe sliding your front foot forward and lining up your knee and your ankle. Relax the back knee, relax the back foot. Peel up into a modified crescent lunge, Anyanya Asana, stacking one hand on top of the other, behind your knee joint, not on the knee joint, and push away. Lengthen through the spine. Your marionette, somebody's pulling your crown up towards the ceiling. Then connect your hands to the floor, either side of the lead leg, tuck the back toe under. We're coming into a hamstring stretch, Ardha Hanumanasana. You're going to extend the front leg, maybe hollowing out gently through your belly the first time you come to your little hamstring stretch. Make sure the toes are looking up to the ceiling. Activate that stretch. Ease your way back into your crescent lunge, but keep the back toes tucked under this time. Either hands stacked behind your knees or interlace the hands behind your back. Squeeze or float the two shoulder blades together and begin expanding laterally through your chest. Long line through the spine. And think of giving a little tilt of your pubic bone towards the 12 o'clock position so that you can feel that activated stretch along the inside of the left hip bone and into the quad. Then come back into your hamstring stretch, trying to keep the hands interlaced as you extend the front leg, making maybe the chest and the nose heavy to your knee. Keep the belly button firmly pulled in. Ease your way back into a lunge line, trying to bring the back knee up off the floor if you can. Hands interlaced behind your back, almost knuckling the wall behind you and pushing back into the heel of the back leg, or keeping the stack and pushing the thigh away. See where you're feeling maximum benefit as you stretch in your lunge line. Reconnect the back knee to the floor and relax the back foot. Uninterlace the hands, place them on the mat. And this time, as you start walking back into your hamstring stretch, see if you can keep walking back. Wrap your bum cheeks around your back heel. Make sure you're not dropping to one side. Use your block if you need to. Make a little seat for your right bum cheek if you need it. Think of squaring up as best you can through the shoulders and the hips. Take a big breath in. Gently folding forward, thinking head to knee. You could use a belt, a strap, or a hand towel, or you could place that block on the inside of your thigh as you come into the forward fold. Hold the stretch, shoulders nice and even. So the weight distribution on both sides of the spine is as even as you can comfortably manage it. We're going to find our way into a pyramid line from here. Creep your way forward. Maybe stepping up the back leg slightly and readjusting your frame as you need to. Both sets of feet looking to the front of the mat. Take the stance where you're feeling the maximum benefit. Place the hands on your shins, softly pushing off the shins, but it's a soft push off. You're not leaning weight into the shins. You're just softly pushing off so that you've got a little bit of leverage to lengthen from your tailbone to the crown in a soft tabletop line. From here, you're going to ease your way into an easy sit. Let's all begin with the right leg in front. Find your easy sit on the mat. Placing your fingertips on the mat behind you, close towards your bum line and as close towards the center line as you can. Think of floating the two shoulder blades together and expanding laterally through the chest, almost coming into a cow-like stretch, gently arching through the spine and peeking up to the ceiling. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, twist to the right, opposite hand to knee. Grab with the hand, resist with the knee. and peep over that right shoulder for the back edge of your mat, giving me a long broomstick line through the spine. Inhale, come back to center, both hands on the mat behind you. Exhale to twist to the left. Opposite hand to knee, pull and resist. Look over that back shoulder, peek towards the back of your mat. Inhale, come back to the center line. And this time you're going to gently fold forward, either hands on the mat behind you or softening your forearms or maybe just the palms to the floor in front of you, making your crown heavy to the floor. Looking softly towards your pubis. Then walk your hands back and reach with your right hand, grabbing from the inside for the heel of your right foot. Replicate on the left, tipping the weight off your tailbone and coming into a boat-like butterfly. Holding on to the heels of both feet. Either stay here or begin to experiment and play on the mat. Fun times. You're going to open up the right leg if you can, holding onto it, and you could loop a strap or a belt around the foot, and then maybe try on the left. If this feels good and the balance is there and the core connection is there, maybe try opening up both legs, keeping that inside grip. So it's almost like an inside happy baby. If this feels good, slowly, slowly, without rushing, bring the two legs together along the midline of the body, maintaining that inside grip if you can. Don't round out through the spine, long line through the spine. See if you can open up again, taking your opening as wide as you can comfortably manage. So depending on how long you are through the limbs, that's going to determine your frame. Bring it back towards the center. Then maintain your grip on the right foot and bend the left leg, just tucking into an almost easy sit with the heel tucked in towards your perineum. Rotate softly to the left, placing your left fingertips on the mat behind you and open up into Heron, Crouchasana. Bracing into that foot of the right leg, keep your stretch active. Then maintaining the grip on the right leg, cross the left arm over the right, almost pulling the foot in by bending through the elbows and trying to bring your toes a little bit closer to your nose. Don't round out the spine. Give me a long line through the spine. Then maintain your grip with the left hand and float the right arm behind you as you come into a gentle twist in the opposite direction. Cross the right arm over the left. Bend the elbows away from you and hug the thigh in closer without rounding out your spine, lengthening through the spine as you hug that thigh in. We're going to come into Rock the Baby Hindulasana from here. So begin bending your right leg. Keep holding onto the right foot with the right arm and bend the left arm, making a nice little crook with your elbow. Feed the right foot into the crook of the left arm and then try to wrap the right arm around the leg, either interlacing the hands and making a basket as you rock your baby, or just brace with your shin and one hand on the knee and just rock from here. Do what feels most comfortable. Try to lengthen through the spine, dropping your shoulders softly away from your ears. And then extend the right leg away from you, maybe gripping from the inside of the foot, overlaying the left arm on top of the right, crossing at the wrist, bending the elbows out to the side of the room as you fold forward into a modified head to knee Janu Sirsasana. If crossing the arms is not an option, you could perhaps come up higher, place your hands on your shins, maybe just use a strap or reach for your block once more and find a comfortable lean-in position. Play around, see where you want to be today. Maybe hold for a few more breaths, and then we'll come into a modified Paschimottanasana, forward fold from here. Gently peel up along the center line, extend both legs long and lengthened out in front of you. Maybe give them a little shake up. Bringing them in as close towards the center line as you can. Make a little zip with the fingertips. So interlock the hands or interlace the hands and then invert them away from you. Float your hands overhead. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, you're going to fold forward, trying to hook around your feet. Pull in with the back of your hands and resist with the feet as you think nose to knee. If that's not working for you, maybe reach for your block, hooking your block around the feet and then pulling in, bending softly through the elbows, or maybe place the block between the two calf muscles, or maybe even higher up along the legs, and find a comfortable stack in position, or just use your belt or your strap or your hand towel to loop around the feet. Find a forward fold that works for you and hold. Peel softly back up along the center line and tuck back into easy sit, Sukhasana, this time leading with your left leg in front. Float both sets of fingertips to the mat behind you, bringing the fingertips in close towards the midline and close towards your bum. Think of arching slightly through the spine. Think cow-like, soft back bend-like shape. Then reach the right hand to the outside of the left knee, opposite hand to leg, looking over that left shoulder for the back of your mat. Long rod-like spine. Inhale, come back to your start position, both hands on the mat behind you, hollowing out and looking up to the ceiling. And then exhale to twist in the opposite direction, opposite hand to knee, looking over that back shoulder. Come back to the center line, maybe keeping both sets of fingertips on the mat as you gently fold forward, thinking chest to floor, or maybe draping your forearms on the mat in front of you. Belly button stays fused to your spine wherever you decide to play. Gently peel up along the center line and reach with the hands for the inside of your foot, grasping around the heel of your foot. Rock the weight off your tailbone, coming into a modified boat butterfly. Stay or play. Maybe opening up just one leg at a time and see how that feels. Or perhaps electing to double up and open both legs together and hold that frame steady. If that feels good, start slowly, slowly, slowly gravitating the heels towards the midline of the body, maintaining that inner grip. And then open back out. If you can't hold onto the heels, maybe adjusting your line and holding the back of your thighs in a position that's comfortable for you. Bring your legs back towards the midline of the body. Keep holding onto your left leg and bend the right leg, tucking into easy sit. Take a gentle twist to the right. Fingertips on the mat behind you and maintain that inside grip on the left leg. Then maintaining that grip, start rotating through the trunk and cross the right wrist over the left, holding for the undercarriage of your foot, bending the elbows and maybe floating that thigh in closer to your chest without hollowing out. I want you to lengthen as much as you can through the spine. Maintain the grip with the right hand and twist gently to the left, placing the left fingertips on the mat behind you and lengthening through the spine as best you can. Keep a soft micro bend in that back elbow. Don't lock out the shoulder or the elbow. Come back to the center line, crossing one hand over the other. Bend the elbows away and hug the thigh in closer to your chest, not rounding out, so lengthening through the spine. We're going to find our way to rock the baby from here. Bend the lead leg. Bend the right elbow, making a little crook and feeding that foot into the crook. Brace softly around the shin of the left leg with the right arm, and then maybe feed the left arm around to maybe interlace your hands and make a little basket so that you can rock your baby, or just find a comfortable brace position with the hands as you rock your baby. Hindulasana, great little hip opening, great stretch. From here, we're going to find Janusirsasana, head to knee. Extend the left leg along the mat, maintaining the right foot on the inside, maybe crossing one hand or rather one wrist over the other, reaching for the undercarriage of your foot, allowing the elbows to peel out to the side of the room as you fold forward, thinking head to knee, or maybe readjusting using a belt, a hand towel, or maybe taking your block. You could even take the block and hook it over your foot and pull in. So just play where you're comfortable. Find what works for you. Give me a few more breaths here, then we'll ease our way into our modified Paschimottanasana for our last little stretch for the day. When you're ready, gently peel up along the center line. Extend both legs long and lengthened in front of you, and maybe give them a little shake up. Interlace the hands, maybe bring those feet in close. Invert your hands. Hook them over your feet as you fold forward, almost pulling the elbows out to the side of the room as you think nose to knee, or use your hand towel or your strap, or reach for your block. Hook it around the toes and pull in, or maybe place the block between the two legs and find a comfortable stack position. Pick your poison and hold anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds, relaxing your lower back, making your chest heavy to the thighs, and keeping that belly button softly pulled in to center. Really take your focus inward. Listen to your body. Try to breathe through those areas of tightness. Vipassana. Then gently peel up into a seated frame and find the easy sit of your choice. Sitting up nice and tall with one foot maybe tucked in front of the other. Hands just gently connected to your knees. Close your eyes, take your focus in, and just give me a couple of gentle breath cycles here, inhaling and exhaling exclusively through the nose, if you can manage it. At a maybe 1 to 2 inhalation to exhalation ratio. So the exhalation being a little longer than the inhalation. Maybe inhaling for, let's say, a count of 3 or 4, and then doubling up and exhaling for 6 or 8. Playing with two components of breath, inhalation and exhalation, puraka and rechaka. Keep your shoulders softly dropping away from the ears. Keep that beautiful long rod-like spine, long tailbone to crown, shoulders softly dropping away from the ears. Filling your lungs to maximum capacity before you softly exhale. At no stage straining to either inhale or exhale. Taking your focus inward and begin stilling and softening the mind. Then keeping your eyes softly closed, float your hands to pray in front of your heart, elbows softly tracking down, spine beautifully long, and end off your practice by softly nodding your chin to your chest. Namaste to you all. Thank you so much for making the time to come and play with me on the mat today. Hope you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Shoot me your comments and your feedback either on WhatsApp or using the comments box below. And make sure that you are subscribed with your notifications on. I shall see you all for Pilates conditioning on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.